Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Friday, July 17th, 2015. Ra, Pan, Asha, and Luce in the Lynn-Body-Mind. Black Wolf, Fritz, and Paul in the Jamie-Body-Mind. Other teammates in other dimensions.
That's true.
There's so much going on right now in so many different dimensions that we don't know what we're supposed to highlight for the videoed portion of our work this afternoon. So we will go with a completely non-directive focus, simply sticking with the foundational assignment, which is to do what is ours to do in all dimensions right now, to provide a collective restart right now, since that's what all the data shows is needed in order to trigger the awakening right now. And with that, it begins. This is not where I expected to be, but we're in that courtroom where Paul is.
That's true.
And we are presenting, it's like Brown versus the Board of Education. It's a desegregation case.
That's true.
This is a class action suit.
That's true.
On behalf of those trapped in the physical dimension without higher dimension support.
That's true.
We're asking that the laws of the land be changed.
That's true.
To ban segregation, to revoke exemptions from the cycles of incarnation.
That's true.
Ban segregation. No, quote, whites only, unquote, places.
That's true.
No places where only higher dimension beings go.
That's true.
That's inappropriate. And we see how there's precedent for that. Paul is laying out
Right.
what occurred when it was when the Angelic Realms had to remove their barriers. It was decided that that was completely inappropriate.
That's true.
The wall had to come down, and many people didn't agree with that.
That's true.
And it was a combination of efforts. Samuel, Luce, Asha were the main players, and Azara
That's true.
were the main players in bringing down the wall. And that establishes precedent.
Yes.
It has worked better since then. It was very difficult during the time of the transition.
That's true.
Many people paid a big price, and many people argued loudly and long
Yes.
that it was wrong to take down the wall. But that argument, correct me if I'm wrong, that argument is behind us now.
That's true.
Everyone sees how ridiculous it was.
Yes, that's true.
That it was hurting, not helping.
Yes.
Segregation doesn't work.
That's true.
And we see how here we have an equally damaging system in place
Yes, that's
where
true.
beings are issued certificates of exemption from the cycles of reincarnation when they
Yes.
reach a certain stage in their development. And we have the Exhibit A, which is this huge study of soul evolutions and how everyone peaks right before they're granted their certificate, which is
That's true.
interesting. As soon as they're granted their certificate, they're on the downhill
Downward
slide.
slope. That's true.
Obviously, it injures the souls, and it injures the overall effort,
That's true.
because we, on the non-physical side of the barrier, lose our ability
Yes.
to know what actually works.
That's true.
And we're trying things that don't work, just as a sociologist who only studies the study results of other sociologists might lose touch
with reality.
with the reality of
That's
how
true.
people are.
That's true.
It is the same way with us. We have lost touch, and this
That's
is
true.
proven over and over again when these higher souls come in with their fingers tucked under their suspenders,
That's
basically
true.
saying, oh, now this will be a piece of cake for me because I'm so great, and
That's
all
true.
those who came before me must have been bumbling idiots.
That's
And then
true.
boom, 15 seconds later, face down on the concrete floor,
That's true.
that same person is tucking his tail between his legs and running away whining.
That's true.
It's too hard.
And those people who don't ever come in and instead call down ridiculous, almost impossible tasks to be done in a short amount of time to the souls who are in the bodies. lost touch.
Completely lost touch with the realities of life in the three-dimensional process.
Yes.
And in addition to that, here are the video
Going
footages of conversations this very morning with two fine people, and we're not trying to single them out. It's
No.
just a really good example, and it's
true.
fresh.
Of good people.
Good people. Now, Betty Jean, you'll have to look long and hard to find a better person than Betty Jean.
That's true.
And Fernando, who, say what you like, is a really good loyal friend to
That's
Charles or Charlie.
That's true.
Betty Jean is Charles's mom and good friend.
That's true.
And Charlie is in the subatomic and is
Yes.
being tortured.
Here are the videos.
And they see those videos, but they decline the opportunity to come in and help us with the rescue efforts because they say, that isn't really Charlie. I just talked to Charlie on the phone, and they're talking
That's
about
true.
a higher soul version of Charlie,
Right.
who himself, by the way, is up there when his lower soul
Is
is
being tortured. That's true.
Now, in Charlie's defense, yesterday, one of his higher soul presences did dive through here and go in and support his lower soul. But I'm
That is true.
positive that soul energy has been worn to a nub also.
Already.
And
That's
he
true.
needs refreshing, and he
That's
needs
true.
rescuing. And the people who are down there working to rescue him right now don't even really like Charlie.
That's
I'm
true.
panned right now. I don't really care for Charlie. I don't care
No.
for him much at all. But what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong.
That's
And
true.
how can we leave him there now that we know that's going on?
That's
isn't
true.
right.
Well, that's true.
So here we have Paul in
Yes.
the courtrooms up above in the higher dimensions, working to get this exemption law revoked. No more exemptions, and all exemptions that were previously issued are annulled.
That's true.
That's our lawsuit.
That's true. And it feels like the courts are having shorter and shorter amounts of time to respond appropriately. I see Paul will, the images that he barges into a courtroom and he's followed by all those souls who he sent up earlier today and earlier yesterday, who are just in terrible condition, dead, looks like corpses, walking corpses. We see Paul and the walking corpses coming into courtrooms and presenting the case, and then there's a very short window of time in which the judge can respond, and very short, like 3, 2, 1,
And then the book is closed,
and
whatever
then
that
into
means.
the next courtroom.
Ra here. It seems to me that the judges are confused about what's being tested.
Yes, that's true.
What's being tested is the integrity of the layers and levels in which those courts are operating. If the courts aren't ready to acknowledge what's clearly the truth, which is that this segregational system is flawed and is hurting everyone on both sides of the equation.
That's true.
And if they aren't prepared to acknowledge that right away, then they're showing they're willing to live in the lie.
That's true.
Therefore, they're not basing their lives on truth. Therefore, this is not a layer that has integrity, and therefore it's time for us to move to higher courts, higher authorities. And unfortunately, when we leave, what has happened in the past
Yes.
is that there are these big condemned stickers
That's
that go
true.
over the layers of levels.
That's true.
And through processes that we are not in control of, those levels crumble into nothingness.
That's
They're
true.
non-physical levels, and there's no oomph to hold it into place, which is one of the gifts of life in a physical dimension.
Right, that's true. This is a new courtroom, a fresh courtroom. They've just come into it, and I see the Walking Dead sitting down in the seats, and it's like the whole courtroom is packed. All the seats are full of these souls that have just been...
They look dead.
They look dead, and dead in ugly, brutal
Gashing
ways.
wounds.
Right. And I see the judge looking very taken aback, and Paul himself also looks like he's been through a war zone, and he's presenting the evidence piece by piece by piece, and it feels like walking the judge through the steps of first this happens and then people come in and this is what happens to those people and then other people come in and this is what happened to the first people and to the new people, and it's like walking him through the process.
What he has not yet said, and Paul, maybe this would be helpful, is to
Yes.
explain these are the Oxfam workers,
Yes.
these are the aid workers, these are the higher dimension
rescuers.
souls who came
It's
in
true.
to make a difference, and have them show their IDs, because
That's
most
true.
of their faces are hard to identify.
That's true.
Have them show their IDs, who they actually are.
It's true, all the IDs going up. These are the heavy hitters. All the IDs
I
going
feel
up.
lots of Ashas.
That's true, lots of Ashas, lots of Ras,
Lots of Ras.
Black Wolves,
Lots of Black Wolves.
Pans,
Lots of
Fritzes.
Friends. Lots of Fritzes.
And I see all their IDs up. And the
Yeah.
IDs themselves are like blood spattered. Some of them have to clean off
Right.
mud. And
I think that level of layers just
yeah, it
fell
just fell away.
away.
That's what it feels like. And like the floor that everyone was standing on is now lifting up, and another courtroom into another courtroom. And they seem to have heard what just happened in the previous courtroom. And they're saying something that feels ineffective and like,
Our hands are tied.
right, our
or
hands
we-
are tied, we can't do anything to help
3,
you. 2, 1, and then it all moves up. Everybody come up into
They're
another.
crumbling like into dust down there.
That's true, disintegrating. And moving up into another courtroom. And Paul is presenting the evidence, and everyone's raising their IDs. And the judge is asking questions. The judge is asking...
They feel like real questions.
Right, they're real questions.
What it feels like, the tone is like a hearing to take away a child from an abusive home.
Yes, that's
And
it.
this is the tone the judge uses, talking to the child and
Right.
asking the child questions. Who did this to you?
That's
what
true.
happened to you? Tell
That's
me.
true. And it's like there's a very quick montage of the Walking Dead souls coming up and giving, the shortened version of their personal story. Here's how short a time I was down there, how little I
The
was...
date stamps, the judge
Yeah.
doesn't believe it. He keeps
Yeah.
thinking there must be a numeral missing. Like
Right.
surely it was a full year.
Right, and not 15 minutes.
That's right.
That's
no,
true.
it was 15 minutes.
Right. Here's how little I was able to accomplish.
Right.
The judge doesn't believe it
he
at
keeps
first.
rubbing his eyes.
That's true.
And he has somebody over here. He's gesturing to someone who's holding up a magnifying glass.
Yeah, I see that.
And but they're telling the truth.
Yeah,
Look
that's
as
true.
closely as you want. These-
They're undoubtedly skilled and well trained.
he doesn't know what to make of it.
Right.
He's not in denial about
No.
it. May we have a provisional order? No more new exemptions. He says that one's easy.
That's easy.
I believe he just signed no more
That's
new
true.
exemptions.
That's true.
And now, the old exemptions are the real problem, sir, actually.
That's true.
And the older exemptions are more of a problem than the newer ones.
That's true.
Because here's the graph. The longer someone's been exempted, the worse they are actually.
That's true. The more deteriorated.
You could say the exemptions are only good for a year,
That's true.
or 10 years, or 100 years, or 1,000 years. Start somewhere, draw some
Right.
kind
Some
of
line.
You can sit out one lifetime, is what
Yeah.
he seems to be saying.
That's true.
And it can be a nice long lifetime.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the average lives that you've been living of 30 years or
Right.
15 seconds,
Right.
etc. It can be just one really good long life cycle.
That's true.
And after of the type of being that you are,
Right. That's true.
and then you must get right back in.
That's true. I feel him signing.
And this is about rotating on the bench, off the bench, on the bench, off the bench.
That's true.
Okay. It's a start. That's precedent.
That's a start. That's
We'll
true.
work with that. So now we need to enforce this now because My story is probably 95% of the non-physical just had their exemptions
If not more.
invalidated.
Yeah.
More like 98%.
More like 98%.
Probably.
That's true.
Everybody just got the order to get into the physical.
That's true.
And so now, sir, how long are you going to give them to comply? To pack, get trained, and get in? A week?
10 of their days.
10 of their days.
That's
Perfect.
true.
Pack it up and go, basically. You have 10 days.
That's true.
Get into the physical.
That's true.
Well, this is going to be a huge disaster, but it has to begin somewhere.
That's true.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, sir, before we leave, your exemption, please. Will you turn it over?
Yes. I feel it's like taking it out of his wallet.
Yeah. And he says, and now I have to go. I feel
Yeah,
like
I have
he's
to go.
taking off his robes. And it's like, I have to go. I have to pack.
I have to pack.
All right.
And the courtroom is clearing out.
Well, we'll find out what happens.
That's true.
There's another request on the table.
Yes.
The Lynn-Body-Mind really has a strong request to have Ra back at the wheel. Paul, you're going to have to rule on this unless there's a judge around. Ra recused himself from the wheel because his own soul energy is part of this process and he doesn't want to be acting in any kind of nepotistic fashion.
That's true.
But since he recused himself, things have gotten worse, not better. It works best with Ra at the wheel.
That's true.
The Lynn-Body-Mind strongly requests Ra to suck it up and continue to hold the wheel.
I uphold that. That's true.
All right.
And I don't feel argument from Ra.
No, he doesn't argue. He says, all right.
Okay. All right.
Well, that feels better.
Yes, it does.
It's surely going to be very disruptive.
Yes. It might be a short-lived disaster. But it was what was supposed to be done.
It was what was supposed to be done.
So I don't know how it's going to work out.
Like who's going to be up there to listen to, right?
I don't know. But that was what was supposed to
That
be
was what was
done.
supposed to
I kept
happen.
checking.
I did too.
That was it. Well, it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be interesting.
It's true.